So now that we know what type of questions we're going to be asking our experts, it's time to delve into the How Might We section of your board. How Might We's is an activity that we run concurrently with asking the expert questions. So this will mostly be done by your teammates who are not leading the Ask the Expert session. So it's by the folks that are in the background taking notes and listening. So essentially, a how might we is just a rephrasing of an issue or a problem that an expert mentioned, and we're just trying to frame it in a more positive way, in a way that we can actually take action to rectify. So you'd see here on the board, there are multiple different spaces here in the Ask the Experts plus How Might We section. What we want to do here is just write in the names of each participant in the sprint so that everyone has their own section. In the case of our fictitious imaginary travel bucket sprint, we have 4 members participating here. So we've got myself and then Chad, Nana and Joe. So we have a couple of blank spaces left over. That's fine. You can leave those blank. Those blank spaces are just there in case you have a larger team and you want to accommodate everyone, but they're not essential to use all of them. It's nice just to have an area for each person on the sprint that you can jot down your own notes and jot down your own how might we. So that's the purpose of this board. Again, if we want to change any of these cards, you can just simply double click on it and that opens up your text box. And if you want to make more of them, you can copy and paste, or you can hit Command D on a Mac and Control D on Windows. So just to show you what a how might we could look like, we've got a fictitious example here, again for a travel bucket app. So let's say we're interviewing somebody that's a social media influencer or a travel blogger or something like that as part of our Ask the Expert session. They might say, I find it really difficult to compile my travel recommendations in one place. That might be the statement that they've made, or that's the issue that they're talking through. So rather than just saying it's really difficult to compile travel recommendations, we just want to rephrase that into how might we create a place for influencers to compile their travel recommendations, or maybe how might we create a place for influencers to share their travel recommendations. That might be where our thoughts are going once they've made that statement. So it's just trying to rephrase problems like that into a how might we. Another example here would be if we're interviewing, say, a non-paying user, so somebody who uses Instagram and sees these really cool places. They might say, I see cool places on Instagram all the time, but I usually forget about them in a few days. So our how might we here is not that users forget about things, it's how might we remind users of the cool places they've seen, or how might we allow users to save and compile the cool places they've seen. Those are 2 examples of how you can rephrase a problem or an issue into a how might we question, something that we can take a bit more action on, because again, these how might we statements are a lot more actionable than just listing out a lot of problems. Don't worry if you get overlap between everybody's how might we's. It just means that you're picking up on the same things, which is probably a good sign. And we'll be sorting through the how might we's later on in our next section, which is around organizing those how might we's. So it's fine to have a bit of overlap for now. Feel free to work away in your individual spaces and fill those up with some how might we questions. So when you're ready and you've spoken to some of your experts, feel free to move on to the next video.